We're going to extend our knowledge of index laws this lesson by looking at some of the laws that we can use with our indices. So remember that a power was the entire term where you had the base, the number we were timesing by itself, raised to an index. Here we've used the notation A, that means anything, any number, raised to a index. We call this a power. So that's a recap of last lesson. Today though, we're going to look at some index laws. The first law we're going to look at is the index of one law. Any number to the power 1 is equal to itself. Try this on a calculator with at least 3 different examples and you will find that any base to the power 1 is equal to itself. Alright, and that's why we have that rule over there. So you raise any number to the power 1, we are timesing a number by itself once, which is not A times A, just A times by 1, and we have the same number. The product law then, the next one we're going to look at, is when you have a number raised to a power, which is multiplied by the same number raised to a different power. So for example, let's have 2 to the power 3 times 2 to the power 2. If we write this out into expanded multiplication, we have 2 times 2 times 2. All right, those are our 3 for our 2 to the power 3. Then we have 2 more for our 2 to the power 2. If I put brackets around those, then you can easily identify where our 2 terms have come from. If we were going to work this out then, to write a new power for this new base and new index, we have our base, which remains as 2, and a new power, because we now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's 2 times itself 5 times. Alright, so this number comes as a result of adding this number and this number. So we can write that an easier way. So 2 to the power 3 times 2 to the power 2 is equal to the 2 to the power 3 plus 2. We're adding our powers, and that is the product law. If you've got 2 numbers or 2 powers where the bases are the same, you can times them together by adding their powers, and that is a way of simplifying them. So we'll put that in our law table here. Alright, our quotient law, now remember quotient is another way of saying divide, works exactly the same as this, but it's the inverse. So instead of having, let's have 2 to the power 4 divided by 2 to the power 2, we can also write this as a fraction. 2 to the power 4 over 2 to the power 2. So in our example here, we've got 2 to the power 4 over our 2 to the power 2 there. And we can see now, to work out the difference between these two, or to divide them, we can cancel 2 of our 2's on each side of our figure. So we've got 2 to the power 2 left. And you can see now that we could write this as 2 to the power 4 minus 2. So just as we wrote up here, where we had our numbers multiplied together, we added our powers to get 2 to the power 5. Now we are dividing our numbers and we are minusing our powers. So over here we can pop a to the power m divided by a to the power n is equal to a to the power m minus n. So these are our general rules over here. The last one we're going to look at is the zero index law. The zero index law states that anything to the power of 0 is equal to 1. Again, I urge you to do this with at least 3 different examples on your calculator, just to prove it to yourselves. But the general law, a to the power 0 is equal to 1, always.